We must realize that Romans 1 verses 26 through 32 is up as a mirror. It shows us the darkness of our hearts when we reject God, not just as individuals, but listen to me, folks, as a nation. And whether we want to believe it or not, if we look over the last 20 years, it looks like the United States of America is rejecting God. I used to say, well, it's just because we have more access to news. We have more ways to see what's going on. But if you look at the numbers, we're considering everything that is involved. We are constantly seeing more sin, more death, more pridefulness, and more egos. We're not seeing a humbleness. We're not seeing a nation that strives after God, but yet there are those. They're willing to go into places that we are not. They're willing to go to prisons. They're willing to go to middle schools and high schools. They're even willing to take a turn at a certain point in their life and go to colleges and speak to young men and women about the love of Jesus, even if it cost them their life. Folks, that's the way we live. It may cost us something, and when you're saved, it does. But the reward is far greater than any cost that this world would demand of you. If you're here today and feel convicted, don't run from that conviction. Run to Jesus. Confess your sin, trust in his sacrifice, and let him renew your mind. Romans 12:2 says and encourages, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. There will be testing involved, but you're going to pass it as long as Jesus is in your heart. If you're a believer today, let these passages, let verse number 32, let it humble you and spur you to share the gospel. None of us are beyond God's grace, and neither are those around us. Everyone deserves to hear the name of Jesus. Every one of us deserves the opportunity to be saved, no matter how we feel, no matter how angry we are, and I trust you. If you're like me, there's a little bit of anger in here of what's been going on. But everyone deserves the opportunity to know Christ. And if we're not the ones who are going to be his light bearers, who's going to do it? So I'm going to ask you to challenge yourself this week. Examine your heart. Where have you exchanged God's truth for a lie? Reflect honesty. Where have you approved what God condemns, whether in your actions, your thoughts, or your attitudes? At the beginning of this service, I started with let your yea be yea, and your nay be nay. It's either a yes or it's a no, folks. You're either for God or you're not. You're either for his church that God established, or you're not. You're either a light or you're a shadow.